everybody, I'm Luke with Building with Kinfolk, and welcome to the workshop. Now today, we're going to be saving Christmas. That's right, I said it. We're literally going to save Christmas. Kind of. Well, sort of. So, you know, there's a lot of houses that don't have mantles. And if you don't have a mantle, where do you hang your stockings? I mean, Santa's got to bring you something to put in that stocking, hopefully more than coal and switches, which is what I got most of my life. But that's okay. We don't have to talk about the past. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to build a stocking holder. This is so incredibly easy. This is going to be great for if you're a beginner, you'll be able to knock this out of the park. If you're more advanced, it'll be super easy for you too. Guys, this is no big deal at all. And it's also pretty stinking cheap, even with wood prices the way they are in 2020. So, we're going to go ahead and get after it. Here's what you're going to need. All right, so the cut sheet for this is pretty simple. Now, if you're getting lumber from, you know, a place like Lowe's or Home Depot, two things you need to know. Number one, it's probably not going to have a straight edge on either side. So before we start making any cuts, we always want to cut off just a little sliver of the edge so that we have a true 90-degree angle starting out with. That's really most important. Second thing to know is you're probably going to have a little bit of twist, we'll call it, in the wood. I mean, most of their lumber comes from the land of the twisty forest. So you have to know that you may have some things that are going to be a little odd in the process. Don't let that discourage you at all. It's not anything to do with you unless you're going and getting lumber from a nice lumber yard, and you know, bringing it back home and planing it yourself and doing all that kind of work. You're kind of get what you get when we're talking about some of the big box stores. So all that said, let's go ahead and jump into these cuts. It's very simple. One of your 2x4x8s, we're going to make a 48-inch cut, a 28-inch cut, and a 10-inch cut. For your other 2x4x8, we're going to do a 51-inch cut, a 28-inch cut, and a 10-inch cut. Now on your 1x8, we're also going to cut it to 51 inches. All right, so you probably saw me cheating a little bit, not really using the tape measure much. This is my quick little pitch. I don't get paid by Kreg at all at the time of this video. They don't do anything for me, send me product, nothing. I pay for it all out of pocket. But I do want to say, if you have a workshop and you don't have the Kreg Top Track, you need to check it out. I have a review for it. I'll post it down below this video, whether it's on YouTube or on the website, both. You'll be able to find that link. This is one of the best tools I have. Speeds up my process so much. I only have to pull out my tape measure when I'm cutting anything less than like 19 inches, 18 inches, something like that. So awesome product. Make sure you check that out. All right, now we've got everything cut. We're going to go ahead and jump over and start putting all this together. So one of the first tools we're going to be using is the Kreg K4 pocket hole jig. Also going to make sure that everything's set up correctly for my 2x4s here. So I keep my bit at the 1.5 inch mark, and then my little sliding plate here, I keep it 1 3/8 inch. It's just what I do for all my 2x4 stuff. So we're only going to use this really for 4 pocket holes. The rest of it, we're going to use some pre-drills and some 2-inch screws. So on your 48-inch board, we want to go ahead and put a pocket hole on both sides. You're going to need 2 of them on the outside. What I typically do is when I pop it down in here, I'm going to use the 2 outside holes. That way I don't have to do a lot of shuffling around on here. So we're going to go ahead and get these pocket holes put in this 48-inch board. All right, so next thing we're going to do is go ahead and do some pre-drilling. Got a lot of different places we're going to be putting some pre-drilled holes here. We're going to do that to make sure that our wood's not going to split. You can skip this step if you want to, but I wouldn't advise it. This goes back to like kind of my main thing I struggle with is don't rush when you're in the shop. I know you want to get the project done, but the worst thing that can happen is you get down the road and then you end up splitting wood and you've ruined a project. So let's just go ahead and get ahead of it. I'm going to be using a 5/64 bit here. And we're going to put a bunch of different holes in here. The couple places we're going to be putting them, we'll put 2 on the bottom of each 10-inch board. That'll be connecting to our 28-inch boards for the legs. Then I'm also going to put 2 on either side of the 51-inch board. And then on the what will be the bottom of the 51-inch board, we're actually going to be putting 8 that will help connect the board on top. Plus we'll do another 4 that are going to be for your hooks. So a lot of different places. So kind of make sure you're paying attention here. If you get lost, don't forget, you can check out the website because all the plans are written out, pictures of everything. Makes it way easier. That way you can kind of sit there and keep your laptop, your phone up next to you while you're building. so you're not missing any steps. So let's go ahead and jump to pre-drilling. All right, so on the 10-inch boards here, what we're essentially going to be doing, and I've got a piece of scrap wood here. This come in very helpful when you're doing this. What's going to happen is our 28-inch boards are going to stand up on each one just like that right there. I'll show you from the side as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to pre-drill from the bottom because our 2-inch holes, they're going to hold these legs up, will come from the base. Why I love having a piece of scrap wood for this, I'm going to put our crappy side on the bottom obviously, is I can throw this board right up here, get it centered, at about 3 1/8 on each side, maybe 3 3/16, somewhere in that neighborhood. But get that centered, and you do want that being the same on both of them. But now I have a knowledge of where this board's going to be later on. So when I drill from the back side back here, I don't have to measure out holes anywhere. I just got to make sure that board stays centered. So you can go ahead and drill this in, or if you want to mark it, go ahead and mark it, get everything marked, and then we'll pre-drill it. That's the route we're going to go. Now I'm going to be marking with a Sharpie. In your own shop, I would advise using just a pencil. That way, in case you mess something up, you can erase it. I do this so that you guys can see it a little bit better, and when I take photos, the people that aren't watching the video, that are on the website, kind of have an idea of what's going on as well. Great. So there's going to be where I'm going to put those 2 holes at. We're going to do the same thing with our other 10-inch board. Put the crappy side on the bottom, about 3 3/16 on either side. Perfect. And then we're going to make some marks. And there's my marks for that one. See how easy this is? It's great. We'll set our scrap to the side for just a second. And we're going to go ahead and move in our 51-inch board. Okay, on the 51-inch board, the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting 2 on either side. And what this is going to do is, if this is your top right here, and these are the legs going down, they're going to mount just like that. So I'm going to use my scrap board again. Just helps give me a little clarity to what's happening. And I'm going to put some marks. Those are going to be the holes on that side. And then here's the holes on this side. Awesome. Right in the middle. Now, the other thing that we're going to do, and we can go ahead and drill all these from the same way, but something to note is this is going to be the top as it would. However, we'll be attaching our 1x on top of this. So, in order to attach our 1x, we're going to be drilling from 2-inch screws from the bottom of it into the 1x. So, we'll need a bunch of holes for that as well. These don't have to be measured at all. All I'm going to do is put groups of 2, and I'll do like 4 groups of 2 just to hold on that top board. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here. There's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and 2. And we'll go a little closer to the end down here. We just don't want to get too close. We don't want to be on those 2x4 legs. There we go. So that's going to be the pre-drills for all of this right here. If you can kind of see it on there, but pretty simple, pretty easy. Like I said, if you get lost, there's pictures on the website. All right, now that we have everything pre-drilled and ready to build together, do a quick clean here, and we're going to go ahead and get started on putting it together. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a 10-inch board. We've already pre-drilled it on the bottom. Make sure you know which side of the bottom of the board you want to use. I obviously want to use where it's been written on here, where it says your name on there, stud. Oh, sorry. Anyways, that's going to be the bottom, and we're going to take a 28-inch board. And it doesn't matter. I would put the crappy side up as we're doing it here probably, but both sides are pretty decent here. So we're going to go ahead and put that there. Remember I said 3 3/16 is going to be the center. So I've got it measured there. And now we're simply going to put in a couple of wood screws. Now, You may need a clamp for this. If so, no problem at all. Grab one. Don't feel ashamed. I'm going to not use one, but I may regret it later. And that right there is what a leg's going to look like. Pretty cool. Pretty easy. We get the gist. The reason we're doing it flat on the table like that is we want to make sure this right here is flat. So that is important, that that is flush. So we'll set that one off to the side. We're going to rinse and repeat. All right, now that we've got the legs finished up, put together, we're going to go ahead and grab our 48-inch board. This is going to be our base. We're going to put our pocket hole side, the side that we drill the pocket holes on the very back here. So I'm calling this the back of the stocking holder, that the front. And we're going to put it in the center of these 2x4s that are running up. It's approximately about 1 inch from either side. So we're going to put it right dead in the center. We're going to mark out 1 inch. You may need to use a clamp here. Totally fine. But we're going to use a couple of 2-inch coarse pocket hole screws. Great. While we're sitting here working, we're going to keep going. We're going to move right onto the top. Now we're going to be jumping back to wood screws here. That's all the Kreg screws we're going to use. So our 51-inch piece, it's going to go right on top. Right in front of my face. And that lines up pretty great. So some 2-inch screws. We just want to make sure that it is flush on all sides here, which I am great. And we're almost done. Just one more board to put on, and then we'll be good to go. So let's go ahead and make it happen. What we're going to do is we're going to take our 1x8, and we're going to put it right on top and screw it in from the bottom using 2-inch screws. As always, we want to make sure that this is going to be centered. It should be about 1 7/8. Maybe a touch less on either side. And get as close as you can. Good. 1 7/8. 1 7/8. We're good to go. Now should be 8 screws. All right, so the last thing we got to go ahead and do is we got to make some marks on the bottom down here, and that's going to be for our hooks on the, they're going to hold the stockings up. So pretty simple. All we're going to do is measure from each end, this end and that end, and we're going to make a mark at 6 inches and then at 18 inches. Pretty simple. We'll go ahead and do that real quick. We want them to be in the center, pretty close to. So there's a 6. And then there's the 18. Then we'll do the same thing from this side. Put it in the center. And there's my 6. And there's my 18. Using that same 5/64 bit, we're going to go ahead and do our pre-drills. That'll be for the hooks. Now, we have to do a little bit of hard work here. Let's get this baby sanded down. All right, so nothing crazy or fancy here. I actually like my projects to have a little bit of that rustic look to it. If you want to smooth it down all the way, you can. What I'm most worried about is getting some of the words that are on here off, that are printed on the lumber, and then just making sure there's no splinters. Because the last thing you want to have is splinters, because then Santa will get a splinter. And then if Santa's mad, you're not getting anything for Christmas, you're just getting coals. Coals and bundles of switches. And it's going to be like my childhood all over again. So before we go to a dark place, let's go ahead and get this sanded down. Now, What I will say before we get too crazy into the sanding, something to note, we've got these pocket holes back here on the back. Now, this is optional. If you want to grab some plugs, I brought them out here so you can see them. They make these little plugs for pocket holes. You can pick some of those up. You can go ahead and glue those in if you want to. But being as though it's on the back, it's going to be against the wall. Nobody will ever see it. I'm not going to worry about it for now. Again, totally up to you. So let's get it sanded. All right, it's all sanded. Let's move on to the next to last step of saving Christmas. You're welcome. Oh, what kind of stain should we pick? What kind of stain should we pick? I don't know. Do you know? Let's use English chestnut. Yeah, there's some of that in there. All right, so a couple of things you're gonna need for staining. Some good stain, make sure it's mixed up, something to open with. I use foam brushes. They make all kinds of different sizes. That's the one I'm using tonight. It's like a 2-inch. And a rag. That'll be enough to make this happen. We're not going to do any sealant like poly or anything like that because it shouldn't be holding any drinks or anything like that. The top is made for your Christmas village. So make sure you put your Christmas village up there. That's what I'll be doing. Actually, I don't care what you do. But make sure you put down a tarp or something if you don't want to get everything messy. I get everything messy all the time when I stain, but my bench is used to it. I don't mind the marks, so we're gonna get after it. Don't worry, I won't make you watch this in real time. We'll speed it up, do some Hollywood on it. Woo! All right, last thing we gotta do, put some hooks in there, but we're gonna let it dry for a little bit first. All right, let's make this happen. I just got some plain Jane hooks. I chose this kind because it was the only kind that I had here in the shop. So a lot of thought went into it. Again, in case you didn't do this earlier, we're 6 inches from the edge. Next one is going to be 18 inches from the edge. And this one's going to be 18 from the other edge. Say the edge, the inside, I guess. I think you knew what I meant. Hope you know what I meant. And then the last one. Look at this. We're almost done, y'all. We just about saved Christmas. Couple more twists. Oh, there we go. Y'all want to see what it looks like with stocking now? I do too. Just don't tell my wife that I'm touching these white stockings after staining this because she'll be angry. Ah! Whoops. Okay, let's pretend that never happened. We're all good. Everything's okay. Doesn't matter. She's going to buy new stockings anyways. She got this thing. She can't find the stockings that she wants. So every year she buys new stockings. That's not an expensive hobby. Oh, we did it. I was too busy talking. Look, we made a stocking holder. We saved Christmas. Now I'm going to magically cut to what we call beauty shots of it with my whole family in front of it, pretending that it's Christmas. It's not even December yet, but just go with us, all right? All right, here we go, and go. All right, guys, that's it. That's the build. It's that easy. Make sure you comment below. Let me know what you think about it. If you're on our social media pages, make sure you share a picture of it when you're done. I'd love to check it out. And make sure you're over on our blog, checking out all the new builds that we have. Everything from Christmas stuff to dining room tables, you name it, we're building it. And if you got ideas, make sure you drop me an email because I'd love to hear from you and see what you want built. You know, because it's all about you at the end of the day anyways. Hope you love it. You saved Christmas from our family to yours. I just want to say Merry Christmas. Kids, Corbin, Merry Christmas. What? Say it louder.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, that's a good one. Ava, what does Santa Claus say? She is welcome to my life. Merry Christmas, guys.